Hey folks, welcome back to the Acoustic Shop. In this video today, we are going to be looking at this absolutely gorgeous Thompson custom guitar. It is a D-HRA Honduran Rosewood guitar.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. We're going to tell you how all the specs on this. We're going to tell you how it ranks in comparison to other guitars. And then we're going to tell you if it's something that you need. And we're going to do all that.
Most importantly, we're going to let you hear it.
Well, we'll let you hear it
for
too,
that.
maybe.
John, welcome back to the channel.
Thank you.
We appreciate
It's
you
been a
making the
while
trip
since
to be
we've been
here.
here.
Yeah, since 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, well,
Anyway, we have a good reason to be here. If you guys liked that performance, that last song, we had just a little clip of it. We do have a full version of that available, and you'll find the link to that down in the description, so you can skip straight to a full performance where you can hear this guitar and mandolin. But we're going to break down a little bit about the specs on this instrument,
this is another cool one. You guys know we have a big love for Thompson guitars, and actually this is a really cool piece because it's something that we discovered while we were up in Oregon.
Oregon.
Went up into Sisters, which was great because we had a visit with Thompson, and they showed us this guitar. They had just finished it. It is the first and only Honduran Rosewood guitar they have built up to date. And it was kind of a cool thing because it gave us a new insight into what these guitars were going to sound like. For those of you who have not been familiar, Martin has been really pushing on the Honduran Rosewood train here lately, and it's for good reason. They wanted to get something that, again, kind of fell in that Brazilian Rosewood sound, but Madagascar has been their replacement and also very popular for Thompson as well. But that stuff has very limited quantities, and there's some, there's some controversy that goes along with that, and it's kind of hard to get. So they've been pushing this, and all of us that are big guitar enthusiasts are like, is it as good as Madagascar? Is it? And here's what I'm kind of coming out with. I think it is another really good replacement. I do think it is different than the Madagascar, and I think Madagascar is still even a little bit different than Brazilian. So I think these are close relatives.
They're all just good Tonewoods. Like, they may not be an exact replacement for one of the others, but you're going to get a good guitar out of it, and it has different tonal properties, just like just about any piece of wood is going to have. Like, you're going to have some variation. So
absolutely, and I think that's our trick here, is coming up with another replacement and something that also sounds great and unique and doesn't change. We want something that we can come up with on a regular basis.
Let's all agree that lead paint was a little bit more vibrant than other paints, but
we've
really
learned.
I think so. I think it held color a little bit better, but it also poisoned children. So we decided to go away from that and we go for latex, and it may not be an exact replica of it, but it's still a nice paint. We've all gotten along well without lead.
I agree with you. So far, what I've found with this guitar has been a extremely loud and powerful guitar. We talked to the folks at Sisters when we were there, at Thompson, while we were there. It is a little bit heavier than either the Matty or the Brazilian Rosewood guitars that they built. Rosewood on average is heavier than mahogany is, but this one just seems slightly heavier. I think it's a little bit harder, has a little bit different characteristic. It is the loudest Thompson I have ever played. If you are looking for that really good pristine tone, but you also want loud, I don't think you're going to find anything much louder than this guitar.
Yes.
And like all of the Thompson guitars, I don't expect this thing to be sitting around very long. It was kind of a interesting deal for us to even end up with it. While we were there, we all went, I love it. I think it's great. Has anybody taken claim of that? They said no, and we said now they have.
That's what we get for making these long treks and flying.
I cost you money. That's what I do every single time.
Well, we get a chance to get these cool guitars.
Yeah.
And was this the one that was modeled after Charles Sautel's?
Well, all of the guitars that they built are built. When Preston Thompson started building guitars, he was building them after that pre-war sound, pre-war style, and the one that he got very acquainted to was Charles Sautel's. I think it was a 1936 D28. correct me on the internet. You know you will. It was one of those early 30s D28s.
Probably by the time you finish that sentence, we had a correction
We already
already.
had a correction. Yeah, that's right. Go ahead and check in the comments. You'll know what the year is. Anyway, it is that was kind of the beginning of the sound of Preston Thompson guitars, and continued all the way through. And it's continued with a incredible workmanship. Thompson just keeps on putting out really, really clean and accurate looking and sounding guitars. For me personally, they are my favorite pre-war style guitar. If you're looking for a new, pristine version of a pre-war sounding guitar, to me, I think this is where it's all at.
I think a lot of people would agree.
I think the the Honduran Rosewood is a really cool look. It also has a really unique look. The figuring on this is absolutely beautiful and
Different.
Yeah, it is a little bit
Lighter
different.
browns and
Now, one thing that I noticed on this, we have a listing, and I'll go through the specs in 1 second, but we have a listing of a high gloss finish. And if this is true that it is a high gloss finish, it is a different finish than we have seen from Thompson before. It is almost a soft hand rubbed finish. And I know they offer a hand rubbed satin that is probably something like this. I've never seen it before. We've only seen the high gloss, but this has a little bit of a lighter sheen to it. It's not quite as glossy, but yet has a buildup of a gloss to it. So I don't know exactly what this finish is. It may be brand new.
but I think it complements that wood really nice.
I think
kinda
it looks
just makes a little
great. I
soft.
think it sounds good. It has, again, more of a pre-war look to it, which is, also very great. So here's what we'll do. We'll talk about the specs on it here for you right now. First and foremost, the price of this guitar, because everybody keeps asking. They say, you're not telling what the price is. So
They
we'll
are a
get that.
boutique builder.
They are a
and
boutique
they don't
builder.
Build, it takes them a long time to build them. So
This
the price
guitar
is-
is not coming in super cheap, but it sounds fantastic at $82.99. A very great guitar, dreadnought style, of course. The top on this is an Adirondack spruce top, Honduran Rosewood sides and back, with a mahogany neck that is very, very comfortable to play. Almost has a slight V to it. Very, very comfortable at the 1 3/4. It is, again, a head plate has figured ebony on the head plate of this particular one, Ivoroid binding with the ebony fretboard and bridge. You do have the single action truss rod on this one. So it's not a dual action, but it is a single action bone nut and saddle. Now this one has the Schaller, Grand tuners on this instead of the Waverleys. There's been some changeovers with a lot of these companies on their tuners, and we're seeing that because they're just hard to get, various different tuners, again, due to COVID and such. So advanced pre-war style X bracing on this particular one. Does have that kind of softer gloss finish on here, which we think is, like I said, is listed as a natural gloss. We think it's a little bit of a softer one. Hard shell case with a soft V, 1 3/4 nut width on this one, which also has the wider spacing at the bridge, more like those pre-war style guitars. It is a standard 25.5, I believe, scale length. This one does come with a K&K Pure Mini pickup. Again, specs on this one does have the standard 28 rosette, as well as a herringbone all the way around, slotted diamonds and squares inlay, which is kind of standard with their Rosewood guitars. So who is this instrument for? This is for, to me, somebody who's looking for
I think the kid with the paper route, but saving up his cashing in his.
If that is true, I want his paper route and quit this job right here.
Was it you used to have the Kool-Aid and you take the little thing on the back of it and save up all those Kool-Aid stamps?
Kool-Aid
and then-
points? Yeah, okay.
He's been saving up a lot of Kool-Aid points for this one.
No, I think this is for a person who's looking for their kind of ultimate dread guitar, all the clean stuff. There's nothing super fancy about this. It's just a powerful guitar that does everything you want it to do with the perfection of a high-end boutique build. Like I said, all the lines are clean on this. All of them are just right. The setup is just right. It is a little bit stiffer type of setup. So if you're used to a very light and easy to play setup, Thompson's come in a little bit on the stiffer side. I was just talking that with Liz. It would need a different setup for her, but if you're wanting something that just kind of just powers out there and goes, this is it. So for me, it would be for that person who, one, wants that super loud performance guitar, but wants it to be an upper end boutique version of that guitar. Sound-wise, like I said, this thing is a monster. It is just about as loud bounce right out of your hands.
The ultimate jam session guitar, like it would just cut across the jam.
Yet super clean. It's got bottom end, but it is a tight, super tight, responsive. You hear all the definition of all those low end notes as well as the high end. So it is just a really great sounding guitar for that kind of style. Downsides, there's not a ton except for just price. They're not the most affordable guitars in the world, but I mean, they're out almost 2 years on a build right now.
And we were there in the shop, and they are not trying to chug through a whole bunch of guitars. They want to keep that quality and reputation that they've built up. So that means spending extra hours, and that costs more money when you're paying someone to spend that much time building a pristine, perfect guitar that sounds as good as these do. So it does come at a premium. But we grew up in bluegrass where it's almost a joke where you would have musicians, they don't even have to be performing or professional musicians, show up in an 80s beat up car, not have enough money for food to get to the festival and gas, but then they pull out an $8,000-$10,000 guitar or mandolin. It's it's kind of the norm.
You drive a $2,500 car and play a $20,000 instrument. That's pretty much the way it works.
And it's not, I mean, it's part of the culture, I think, just to have a really good quality instrument, you're going to pay a little extra for it.
Absolutely. As far as instruments this compares to, I mean, this is in that boutique world. It is more of a vintage Martin style, but again, cleaner build. It's the bourgeois style build, Collings upper style with that super clean line, super accuracy. But these ones just really have more of that pre-war tone.
They voice them really well.
And voiced just to have even more power and extension. So that's kind of where I would kind of put this in comparison. If you're just looking for that super accurate, well-executed build, that's why they're out 2 years, that and the fact that there's so many of them.
Mr. Strings also seems to like them.
Yeah, Billy Strings, Molly Tuttle. I mean, these guys are played by all of the hotshot guitar players out there.
Mr. Peter Rowan.
There's a good reason. Rowan's guitar looks great, by the way. I didn't get to play it, but it's really, really good. So, as far as getting the most out of it, I would say play it and just
I can imagine this thing in 2 years.
Love what it's going to become. I mean, like you said, you give us a couple years, let it open up even that much more. There's just so much.
It's meant for the flat picker. It's not really a finger style or a strumming guitar.
What a powerful guitar. I can't say enough about it. So here's what we're going to do.
Let's rate it.
We're going to rate it, all right? So let's do that. I'll break these down into a few different ones. Again, this is on a scale of 1 to 5.
In like categories. So this isn't compared to like a $1,000 guitar. In that $8,000 to $10,000 range.
What do you think? Yeah, absolutely. Tone-wise, what do you give it, Jer?
Well, I think obviously a 5. It's huge sounding, it's big, it's open, and it's balanced.
Yes.
All the way across. So for our ear as bluegrass players, definitely a 5.
I miss a little bit of the bottom end response compared to some of
though.
those. The Maddies that I agree with you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it a little bit just because I look a little bit. I'm going to give it a 4.75.
I don't even know
Can
that's
you
possible.
do that? A 4 3/4 stars?
Why don't you just add a couple more decimals
Nope,
to that?
I'm going to do it 4.75. That's what I'm going to do. This is so close to a 5 to me. For me personally, if it had a little bit more bottom end extension, I think it would be absolutely perfect. But again, if you want to keep it toned, this is the guitar for that. Setup and playability, again, for me, this is exactly what I would want. I'm a little heavy-handed. This one does not step out on me. So for the setup that I'm looking for, this is it. I would say this is a 5 for me. I'm going to bet it probably wouldn't rank quite as high
Probably
for
about
you.
a 4, 4.5 for me, just because I play lighter than you, and I'm used to, well, I guess I got enough tension on mandolin, but those single strings, I need a little lower action.
Yeah. So that was, I mean, it is a perfect setup, but this is all subjective.
That's what it's meant for.
Yeah, absolutely. Build quality, there is no doubt in my mind this one falls at a 5. I cannot find any flaws in this guitar at all.
No, I would agree with that.
There you go. As far as the aesthetics and looks, again, this is classic bluegrass guitar, dreadnought, the Martin style world. If you're looking for that, I even kind of like this more subdued finish a lot. Yep. I like the rosewood difference here.
Lighter brown.
It's not quite as Brazilian looking, but I still think it looks absolutely stunning. So again, for me, this is a 5. I love the way it looks.
I would give that maybe a 4, 4.5. Just it is a different type of wood, and it's got some odd grain stuff to it. But again, it's I'm just going based on like a pristine, perfect Brazilian or something. I'll give this a 4.5.
As far as the sustainability on this guitar, I know that this is actually becoming a much more sustainable option for people out there using the Honduran Rosewood than using Maddie. So I give them major points for that. Again, I don't know all of the sourcing of these guitars, so I don't know if it necessarily passes our shop sustainable, but
whenever we can't confirm it, we just go ahead and err on the side of it didn't shop or pass our shop sustainable threshold because we can't confirm that, so we're going to plant 5 trees regardless.
Yep. And as last here, overall value. For me, they are expensive. I know that, but still, it's an expensive guitar. I think it's a 4.5, if not a 4.75. I'm gonna go 4.75
again. Yeah, I think they are priced because of their demand and because of the time they spend on it. So it's obviously worth it because of the effort it takes to build it.
No doubt.
So I'd put it about a 4. It's not a bargain, but it's definitely worth what you're paying for it. I don't think you would be disappointed if you can get the funds together.
Not at all. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little bit of a tone demo for you and get this and see if this is the guitar you're looking for. Well, there you have it, guys. A absolutely powerful guitar. This thing is a monster. We actually have done quite a few different videos with Thompson guitars, including one that we actually want to draw your attention to. If you want, you can check out this video that we have a link to right here, where we compare a pre-war guitar, my pre-war guitar, D18, with a modern pre-war style guitar from Thompson.
The DMA?
The DMA is a very powerful guitar. I was very surprised. A lot of people were like, I can't really hear much of a difference.
A surprise ending in that video. You're going to want to see it.
There you go. Anyway, check that one out right here. And again, thank you all so much for being with us. And hopefully we will catch you next time with another amazing guitar or mandolin or banjo or something.
Ukulele.